Hi guys, welcome back to Gym Girls Unfiltered. Today we thought it'd be kind of fun to mix it up and do a few topics. So we're going to talk about a few topics, one of them being the best time to train, the best time to fuel or how to fuel pre-workout, post-workout. We get a lot of questions around that. And then also some tips for shrinking your waist. And one more big factor that most girls overlook. But we wanted to start with a little update, what the hosts are up to. So Caroline, what's going on with you?
Yeah, so last week I had not many updates, but this week I actually have a few. So I just moved into a new apartment and we're officially in a 2-bed, 2-bath. And guys, I'm so excited. The closet in the guest room is going to be my gym closet for all my gym clothes. So that's really exciting. It's so much more space. And then training and coach update is the coach that I was going to work with, I'm no longer working with. And for everyone out there who wants all the drama, all the tea, there's absolutely none. I just have some gut and hormone issues and needed to find a coach who specified in that and knew what they were doing and had that knowledge. So I found someone thanks to Kate. He is amazing. I'm just gonna leave it at that. If you know, you know. I kind of am gonna keep this just to myself for now and just work on me and fixing everything. But I'm super excited so far. So I have a new meal plan, a new training plan, and then I have a ton of supplements. So definitely will be posting about that some. But other than that, just gonna kind of leave it at that.
Yay,
Hey.
I love that. I'm so excited for you, Caroline. I'm kind of like in a similar boat, fixing my gut, my hormones. It's very monotonous what I'm doing right now. It's just the same supplements, the same meal plan. So yeah, I'm trying not to share too much of it because it is very restrictive, and me and Caroline both have like gut issues, but we have like totally different plans because we have totally different issues going on. So yeah, I'm honestly just excited to get healthy because after, I think it's going to take about 18, 20 weeks. So the 18 weeks is actually going to end like right before the day before my birthday. So I'm really hoping like things are good then and I can just enjoy like life and growing again. And I'll be in Texas at this time. I'll just have moved there. So I'm really excited for the next few months have to come, but we have to kind of get through like this rough healing phase now. But I'm learning to just enjoy the process and just be so thankful that I have someone, a coach that cares as much about my health as I do. But that's pretty much all my updates.
I love it. I love that the girls are putting their gut first. I feel like it can be really hard to do that. For me, I'm a little over 2 months post show now, and I was just talking to the girls before we started filming. My focus right now is trying to get my cycle back. So obviously, like when you're in prep, a lot of times a lot of girls lose their cycle, lose their period. So that's my primary focus right now. My food is pretty close to maintenance now. So my food is a little bit higher. And that's really my focus is I want to get healthy. I can feel it. Like I know it's coming back. So my focus right now is just growing some lean muscle, getting healthy, and just like kind of getting into a routine with everything. I feel like this is the first time in like this year, ever since I've moved and all these different types of things that I feel like I can get into a little bit more of a routine. Like I'm not in bodybuilding prep. I'm not traveling every single weekend. So I'm just focusing on kind of getting into a routine right now. So that's all been good. But I think it's a good time to transition into that first topic. So our first topic we were going to talk about was the best time to train. Do either of you guys have like anything you want to start with?
Kate, you start first because you've trained that every single time.
Yeah, Miss Nurse over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would say there's an ideal time to train for everyone, but also like a best time. An ideal time for me would be like after my first meal, maybe an hour after. Like I'm waking up, drink some water, had some coffee, had a good slow morning, and then eat my first meal. And ideal time to train for me is like 10 to 11, 11 to 12, like mid-morning. But the best time to train really just depends on what you have going on in your life. So for me, sometimes yesterday I worked and I'm in school. So I had to do a paper last night before midnight. And I didn't want to wake up and do that at 3 a.m. Like my brain's not functioning. I can't wake up at 3 a.m. and go train. So yesterday, the best time to train for me was before my 12-hour shift. I got up at 3:30, went to the gym, went to work for 12 hours, came home, did my schoolwork, got it submitted at like 10 o'clock. So for me, that's the best time to train. But honestly, like days when I don't have a lot of schoolwork to do, I would love just to get up, have a slow morning, go work my 12 hours, and then go to the gym after that. But really, I think a lot of people are like, oh, what's the best time? I need to know the best time. And there's no like one specific best time. And it honestly can change day to day depending on what you have going on. You just kind of have to build a routine you like and kind of like when you like going to the gym. But honestly, I don't like going to the gym at 4 in the morning or 3 in the morning or at 8 o'clock at night. But sometimes that's the only time I can go. So you just have to suck it up.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't think there's a perfect time to train. But for me personally, I'd say probably an ideal time would be mid-morning. I'd say wake up, have my first meal around like usually I have my first meal around 9. Today, though, I kind of did love my morning. I've been trying to schedule out and like time block my days. So I just had my first meal and then I'm going to have my second meal at 11 and then go train. So an ideal time would probably be mid-morning for me, but obviously I do love to have food in me. So the more the better. So the fact that I am able to get in 2 meals today will be really good for my workout.
Yeah. I think for me, like my ideal, like the one that I like in my perfect world is probably like a early afternoon. I feel like I'm different than Kate.
Yeah.
I love an early afternoon training. And I think that's why, or I think the reason why is because I like to wake up and I like to get a little bit of work done before. I don't know why. I think my brain like works the best if I wake up, I have my breakfast, and then I do, like my client check-ins, whatever I need to do. Because I think if I go to the gym and I still have like, oh, I need to check in with my girls, right? I think it's like in the back of my head. So again, I'm trying to find my routine this week, but I think that that's what works best for me is wake up, have a breakfast. I like to train after like at least 2 meals. I think that's another part of it too. So usually that's the same way for me. But I think going back to what Kate said, it's like, it's really about finding what best works for you. Because what I like to do, and I think all of us are this way, and I think it's maybe because we're type A people, but I like to think about like what my next day looks like and have at least somewhat of a plan of like, okay, what do I need to get done? When am I going to train? And at least have like a rough roadmap in my head. So most days it's like, okay, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to have breakfast. I'm going to get some work done for a couple hours, go to the gym, come back, and then do the rest of what I need to do. But if there's a day like yesterday, like my mom, on Wednesdays, my mom and I hang out. So then I kind of move my day around. I'm like, okay, I'm going to train later in the day and do this at the beginning. So I think really the best time to train is just whenever you can fit it in. And it's just kind of thinking about like, when are you going to have the time? When are you going to make the time to get that in?
Yeah.
Something I used to do when I kind of got started, especially in the bodybuilding, I let my whole day revolve around like my gym schedule. And like I refuse to do anything. I think I've talked about this before.
Yeah.
I refuse to do anything if it like came into like the time I love to be at the gym. And that's just not how you should be. Like your life should not revolve around your gym schedule because that's how you ruin relationships.
Yeah.
That's how you neglect going to the dentist for 3 years and other things. And I just feel like I literally would not do anything until I went to the gym. And like it would let me like get behind on my schoolwork or like my check-ins with my clients. So yeah, I don't know. I think it was because I was like mentally like I'm just mentally clear at this time. I feel the strongest. And honestly, like you should all like your strength may dip like later in the day if you had a long day. But something my coach told me is like really weakness is like mental. Like if you're feeling weak, it's like, are you actually weak? Or are you just like kind of feeling tired and lazy? Sometimes you just have to like show up and be like, I'm gonna do this because I know I can. But I don't know. I used to really be like that. Have y'all ever struggled with that?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that like you hit on something really important there, Kate. It's like you can make it work at any time. It's just a matter of, and we'll go into this in the next topic as far as like pre-workout nutrition, post-workout nutrition. You can make it work at any time. Is it going to be like ideal sometimes? Maybe not, but I think the best thing that you can do is just find what works in your schedule. And like you said, Kate, sometimes there's days where you have to move around your schedule and you're not, making the gym revolve around your life, but you're letting the gym fit into your lifestyle. And I think that that's super important. Do you have to get up early some days to get it in? Yes. Do you have to go when you're tired sometimes? Yes. But it's making like that fit into your lifestyle so that you can be consistent with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I usually work out in the morning. I am not a night lifter at all. I think that like it is a mindset thing because like on Monday, Carson hits legs and he hates hitting legs alone. And he's like, can you hit legs with me on Monday? And I'm always like, no, I'm not lifting after you're done work at 5 o'clock. Like, I'm just not doing it. My lifts are terrible. I like to lift in the morning. That's my ideal time. And I'm blessed to be able to lift in the morning when I want to lift right now. That may change in the future, but for now I am, able to, and I don't take it for granted. Because like someone like Kate who works her butt off for 12 hours, like I have a little princess stay at home job right now. But I will say, like, he's like, can you lift with me on Mondays for legs at like 5 o'clock? And I'm always like, no, no, no. And then I really thought to myself, like, this past Monday, I went and I hit legs, and afterwards I was like, wow, that was actually a really great workout. And it's like always the ones I don't want to show up for that end up being the best. So I did promise him on Monday that starting this past Monday, I'm going to hit legs with him on Monday, just because I am able to lift with him on Mondays. And if that's the one day he wants me to lift, I can change around my schedule to lift with him.
I love that. That's so cool. Cause like I'm the same way. Bradley gets back at like, what is it, like 5:45 after work. And then he goes to the gym. He'll come back, have his pre-workout meal, and then go to the gym. And by the time he gets to the gym, it's like 7:30. And I'm like, I don't know how you do it. I can't train that late. But again, it's just finding like when you can. So I was like, you know what? I want to like be able to spend time with you and like be able to go to the gym together, because we both love the gym. So it's something where it's like, okay, every Saturday we're making a point to go to the gym together. And that's been really fun. And also on Fridays, I started going to the gym with my dad ever since moving back to Orlando. It's like I live close enough to my parents. So it's kind of like you, Caroline. My dad is like, okay, I train legs on Friday. So I changed around my split so that I can train with my dad every Friday. So that's been fun. And he pushes me. It's like nice to train with somebody that's going to push you, especially on legs. So it's been fun.
Yeah, I used to be the same way. Like, just thinking about like going to the gym or the pool, like stomach of food made me so anxious. And I was just like, well, I'm gonna look bloated, or like I don't know why. Like, I was just so scared to train with like a lot of food and water in me. But
yeah,
I started doing that. I was like, okay, like this is actually great. And I do love going after work because I have like no time restriction. Of course, like if I'm back at work the next day, I have to get up early. But like I just feel like I can take my time, which is really important for like stress, also like your recovery, and just putting all into your lift. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It is kind of hard just to sit around all day, like especially if you're waiting for someone else to go to the gym. Like it makes me anxious. I like to go get my lift done, but I don't know. I think that's important for like relationships and friendships.
Yeah. And that reminded me of that's something that the day that honestly love. It just usually doesn't work out that way in my schedule. But I noticed if I'm training early in the morning, I have to get at least 50 ounces of water in. And I noticed such a difference in my lifts is like, because I'm used to training like early afternoon where I have more water in me. And obviously we're always thinking about like our pre-workout food and all that stuff. But I didn't think about, okay, I need to be making sure I have enough water so that I can actually like feel strong. So I don't know, that's something I started prioritizing if I do work out in the morning earlier than I'm used to. It's just like, okay, that's a non-negotiable. I'm getting at least 50 ounces of water before I go train.
Yeah, I guess this could kind of bridge into our next topic of pre and post workout nutrition. So something like you just said, Alani, when I used to work out at like super early 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and I didn't have like a lot of food and I still had like carb powders, if I did not eat before I worked out, I used to like just go fasted, no water, no nothing, maybe like a shot of espresso or something. Jeez. But now, like, if anyone is like working out super early, you don't have time to like make a full meal, or like your stomach just can't handle it, drink at least like 40 ounces of water right when you wake up. Put some electrolytes in there, put some EKAs, and put some carb powder. Because what happens when you go train fasted and dehydrated, your body, like, it can't get blood to your muscles. You're not going to get a pump. You're going to ruin your recovery. You don't have any protein or like carbs, so your body is going to be in a catabolic state, which pretty much means it's like breaking down amino acids that you have in your muscle. And I don't know, I wish someone would have told me that, but like just having like carbs, it gives you like some energy to go, your blood sugar doesn't drop, and then the essential amino acids, it kind of gives your body like that protein synthesis that you need to like show recovery. And I don't know, I wish someone would have told me that when I started.
Yeah, for me, I honestly never worked out never ever worked out fasted because I've like always been the person to eat something before I go to the gym. So when I was at school, I would lift at like 5 and I'd have like 2 rice cakes with a little bit of peanut butter and some banana before. And that was like fine to get me through my workout. But then I would like end my workout and I was absolutely starving or get halfway through and be like, oh my God, I'm so hungry. So honestly, I have to say thanks to Kate for this. She is very knowledgeable on so many things in the bodybuilding world. So if any of you have any questions on pre-meals, post-meals, literally anything, like she's the girl to ask. So she's honestly helped me so much since we became friends. And fun little fact, Kate and I have only met twice, but you would never know that. But anyways, I like have just gained so much knowledge from her, and ever since meeting Kate, I have not ate a pre-meal less than like 80 grams of carbs and really front loaded my workouts pre and post workout, and have seen a major difference all around in my energy, my growth, and everything, and really put all of my food towards my lift, and it's helped so much.
It's so crazy, like what food will do too. Like that's something over the past, what is it, like 4 years? I remember, gosh, when I was like a freshman in college, I was the same way as you, Caroline. I would have like a little snack. Like I knew, okay, like from my TikTok feed, I was like, okay, I have to have like some carbs, like maybe like a rice cake or like a Rice Krispie treat or like a little, like I would have like a Greek yogurt, you know? It's like the whole pre-workout meal was like 80 calories. And now my highest carb meals are my pre-workout and my post-workout. Like seriously, I structure all of my meals around my training because I know that like that is what the purpose is for, is so that I can be growing right now. So like my pre-workout, I'll kind of like break it down, kind of what we were talking about. It is so important how you structure those meals. And when I go to train, I always, my pre-workout and my post-workout are my highest carb meals. And I always try to keep them like a quick digesting carb. That's something where it's like, okay, you want a lot of carbs, but if it's a super heavy carb, sometimes you can start to feel like really lethargic, things like that. So for me, I like to do quick digesting carbs. So I'll usually do something like a hot cereal, like cream of rice or something like that, or jasmine rice, or even like sourdough, or adding honey or adding berries. Those are like my go-to carb rotations because they digest really quick. So I can get in a good amount of carbs before I train, and I'm going to be able to utilize that as fuel in my training. And I usually have that about like 45 minutes to 60 minutes before. I also have a little bit of healthy fat, like usually like a nut butter or something like that, and then a quick digesting protein too. So usually I use like a whey protein isolate. Like we all love like the whey drip bowls, so we use that a lot, or just something like chicken or something like that. And then when I do a post workout, I usually do something, you know, like a lean protein. I keep my fats low in my post workout, so I'll do something like chicken and rice, or chicken and sweet potato. And I like to add some sort of fruit. So I'll do like pineapple afterwards, or if I want some more fiber, I'll do like kiwi. But that's kind of how I structure them. How do you guys like think about these meals?
Yeah. I've always done macros besides maybe like the past like 2 or 3 months. So it really just was trial and error. When I first got to like working out and everything, my pre-workout meal was like a big bowl of oatmeal, and then I had some eggs on the side. And like you were saying, that carb oatmeal is high fiber, so it's going to take your body longer to digest it. And I slowly like learned like, oh my gosh, this is so heavy in my stomach. Why? So it's because of the fiber. So you don't want a lot of fiber, and it really just depends on what you work out. Let's say you're working out like 2 to 3 hours, you can eat your pre-workout meal. Then maybe you want something like with oatmeal, a little bit more fat, because it's going to take longer to digest. So by the time you digest it, but I do like to eat mine like 45, 60 minutes, 90 minutes before I go train. So we want quick digesting, so that means kind of lower fiber, lower fats, kind of a little bit of fats to sustain it through our workout. But the reason you want it to digest quick is because if you go into the gym, like I hate working out with a full stomach, but also like after you eat, your blood goes to your stomach. So you want to give it enough time to digest, but also like that's why you should choose like digesting foods, because you want that blood to, or you want that food to be digested so the blood's like not in your stomach, you can go to your muscles. But post-workout food similar, it should kind of like match your pre-workout meal. I will do fats in my pre-workout meal, but my post-workout meal, besides like on this gut plan right now, it doesn't have a lot of fats, because after our workout, we especially want it to digest super quick and get to like our body and like restore our glycogen and everything. But that's kind of how I structure mine. It took me a long time to be like, oh my gosh, I need like a lot of carbs to feel my training. And then I need carbs after I trained. I was bad about like macroing and like pushing my food back, which no one do that. Which is like that would have saved me like so much time and progress. I feel like, but all it really is a mindset, and I guess that's where a lot of people find value and like following a meal plan.
Yeah. Okay, I know you take or I know like prior to your gut stuff, you did take intra workout, your intra carbs, so maybe you can talk on that a little bit.
Yeah, there's probably like two reasons I could say like why people should do that. One is my food was so high and it was like 345 carb, and I used to do 20 grams of carb intra workout or 25 grams of carb intra workout, and that honestly was just to help me get my carbs in through the day. But also I was just training so hard, I would kind of like get this like dizzy feeling in my workout, kind of start feeling like weak, kind of start blacking out like after my set, and be like, whoa. And that's just because like I was training so hard and so intensely. My body just needed a little bit more glycogen to get me through my workout. And it just kind of helps like keep your muscles fueled while you're training. So I don't know, like if my food was like super low, like in a prep, I know like my coach will keep girls like their intra carb in even during prep when their food's low, because that training is everything. Like you want your training to be like the most important thing of your day, and like you have to fuel your training. And I think a lot of people kind of neglect that part. But not everyone has to do your carbs as long as like you're eating the amount of carbs. Like if your food is super high and your carbs are super high, like why not do it? Especially like if you're complaining like, oh, this is too much food.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing too, is people like, I think people start to overcomplicate it and be like, oh, you know, what is like the most perfect, all these different things. I think big picture stuff, it really matters like how much you're getting in total during the day. Are there little things that you can be doing to make it more or less optimal? Absolutely. But I think what it comes down to is like your total carbs for the day, so that you can be in a surplus and be growing or whatever your goal is. So like you were saying, Kate, if somebody has to have their food super, super high and they're like, I can't stomach all of this, I think that's a really good time to introduce an intra carb or like a super quick digesting carb. Like I know for some of my clients that are lifestyle and they're like, oh my goodness, like I'm not used to eating this amount of food. I'm like, okay, let's add in things that are quick, like honey, things like fruit. And I think an intra carb is another good way to just add in some extra carbs that you're getting more fuel throughout your training.
When do y'all like to eat your post-workout meal? How soon after?
I eat it like right after. There honestly, like especially in bodybuilding prep, there's been times when like I bring my post-workout meal with me and I would literally heat it up at the gym, eat it right after my workout. I would never eat it before my cardio though. If I had cardio after my training, I would wait until after my training to have my post-workout meal.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot oh, go ahead, Caroline.
I would say I usually have mine like I would say like right after I train, but honestly it just depends on the day. Like if I have to go run an errand or go do something, I'll just go do that. Like I'm not like rushing to get it, but I wouldn't say I mean I try and like don't go more than like an hour, but I usually get my steps after, so I'll lift, get my steps, and then come home and make it. So it's not something I stress about, but like I don't like wait the whole day to eat it.
Yeah, especially like if you're depleted in prep or like post prep, like Kalani, like if you're super hungry, go ahead and eat it. But I've noticed like as I've like gotten to my growing phase and like my food was super high previously, I would not be hungry for like 30, 45 minutes to an hour like after I lift. And honestly, like for digestion, like wait for your body to get into that parasympathetic state, because like that's our rest and digest state of our body. Because after you train, like you're super like high stress, cortisol's high. So unless you're super depleted, I would say like wait until you're hungry. And like don't let go like an hour and a half or so. But there is a lot of value in that, because I used to just like slam food and I wouldn't even be hungry. And I'd be like, wow, it's my digestion off. So I don't know. I just wanted to touch on that. You should like think, oh, I had to eat like right now.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I think that leads us into our third topic, which is how to shrink your waist. So the first thing that we are going to talk about, which we have kind of touched on before in a previous episode, is the fact that you cannot spot reduce fat. So who wants to start on this one?
I will. I think a lot of people think like those ab workouts will shrink your waist. And I even had a client recently, she was like, yeah, I just really want to focus on my waist more. And I was like, well, we are by being in an overall deficit and just weight training, and pretty much we're going to recomp. But I think a lot of people think there are different ways to shrink your waist. And there's definitely ways to make the illusion of your waist look smaller, but you can't really like change the structure. Yes, you can lose fat on your midsection through a deficit in exercise, and prioritizing your digestion is important because like if you're constantly like eating foods that your body doesn't like and you're bloated, your waist will like blow out and just have like a good look to it. But one topic I really wanted to touch on is the importance of like training your upper body, because if you build up your shoulders, you build up your lats, you're going to get that illusion of an hourglass figure. So you want to build up your upper body, you also want to work your lower body, which I think every girl wants to do. But that's the value in building up your upper body, because think about if like you have like bigger shoulders and wider lats, and not necessarily like more like density to your back, but width, you'll build that hourglass shape. And I used to look like a board, like growing up, like a door. But then when I started like really taking my upper body training seriously, I was like, okay, wait, this actually looks really good. And now I'm obsessed with like some good like cap delts, because it really does like make your waist look smaller.
Yeah, I want to touch on that too, because it's like in my last prep, I think this kind of like brings it all into perspective, because I was the same way. Like I grew up like super skinny, like no shape at all, and now like competing in bikini, it's like, okay, we have to have like that hourglass shape. And I love shoulders. I love training upper body. And my feedback actually this previous year was that I need to grow my upper body. And it's so funny because you think like bikini, it's like you don't want to be big and muscular and all these different types of things, but it adds to your overall look, even in like a bikini bodybuilding context. So it's really interesting to hear that, where it's like I actually have to grow my arms and I have to grow my upper body and like fill out so that it creates more of that hourglass shape. But I love training upper body, so I'm excited for it. Yeah, I think that's super important. It's just like not neglecting growing, because it does add to your shape. And one thing that I would touch on as well is like I would agree with Kate there, where it's like there's nothing you can do to spot reduce fat. And I was talking to a client about this as well. Like she had certain areas where she's like, I want to really focus in on these. And same thing as Kate. It's like it's bringing it back to, hey, we're in a deficit right now and we're working towards fat loss overall. We can't spot reduce different types of things. And a lot of times I'll get questions from clients where they're like, well, can I do ab workouts, and are there things that I can do there? And that's not going to shrink your waist. But one thing that I did realize that I was neglecting was ab workouts, because I was like, oh, abs are made in the kitchen, which is absolutely 100% true. But I also felt like my core was like weak. So kind of one thing that we talk on there, and I think this is big in the bikini world as well, is doing ab training where you're not adding weight. You're not doing like weighted oblique exercises where it's going to like add thickness to your waist. Usually we're not going to be lifting enough weight to add thickness to our waist anyways. It's not a huge concern, but it is something that I wanted to touch on because there's some like conversation in there. But something that I started doing was like 3 times a week, I do body weight abs. So I'll do something that's lower abs. I'll do like a lying leg raise, or I'll do like a hanging leg raise, or like a decline sit-up. Love those decline crunches. And then some sort of leg raise. So that's something that I do. I'm doing that like 3 times a week. But those are the things that come to mind with like shrinking your waist.
That's really important. I used to do the same thing. Like I would do like weighted oblique crunches, and like thinking about a CrossFit build. Like love CrossFitters. I think they're crazy. Like I'll never do it. But like if you think about them, they're also like using their big list, their big compound list. And they have like that blocking section. Mm-hmm. Maybe if you don't want to compete with it, like you don't really care. Like, don't care about that. But like, if you want like a tiny stitch waist, it's more important to do like abdominal, like you said, like leg raises, or like just
more like strength focused.
Yeah.
Body weight where you're really utilizing those muscles. Yeah.
Yeah, and like any other muscle, our abdominals are muscles. If you progressively overload it and like do like weighted crunches or like weighted oblique crunches, you will like hypertrophy like your muscles there. Yeah, and they're hard to hypertrophy. I've heard a lot of like bikini competitors can't bring their waists down.
I did so many weighted ab workouts before I had my previous coach, like when I worked with BA. And then as soon as I signed on with Christy, she was like, no more weighted ab workouts, because I do have like strong obliques, and she was like, no more of that. So I just started doing body weight movements, and that's all I do now. Now I don't have any. I don't think Mike might have like 3 things in my plan for abs right now. But before I was just doing like 4 days of like 3 body weight exercises and literally 10 to 12 like reps of each, and that was it, because obviously most of your abs, A, come from the kitchen, and B, you should always be using them in your compound movements. So
Yeah, I really like vacuums too. They don't directly shrink your waist, but it's really helped me with my digestion, but also like my breathing and core control, because I just feel like I always just kind of let my stomach out, which is fine.
yeah,
It
I do
does
my
also
vacuums.
train- yeah,
I
it like
do my
does train
vacuums
those
every
muscles.
day.
Like I never can pronounce it right. It's like you should know this, Kate, because you're a nurse. Like what is it? Intercostal.
It's the transverse abdominals. So it's like a TVA.
Yeah, it actually trains those. And I'm like, I can never, I butcher it every single time.
And it's
But
really,
there is some truth there.
yeah, and it's important for like people like after they have babies and stuff, because that baby like sits on those muscles.
Yeah.
Like by a lot of postpartum moms, like they have a weak core because they need to train their TVA, and it's like the deepest muscle there is, and it's really hard to train. But vacuum work, like standing hunched over, really trains your TVA. And there's some other exercises like Kegel exercises that help, but the moms out there know what I'm talking about. But
Yeah, I do my vacuums every day. I do 10 reps 5 days a week. Yeah, that's what I do. I did it this morning.
it won't shrink your waist directly, but it does help with your core control and like even breathing. And especially like if you guys are competing, like on stage, like you have to hold that front pose forever. So like it's so important to be able to have that core control and to be able to control your core, but also breathe. I used to do my vacuums, like I would hold my breath, but now like I'll do my vacuums and like slowly like take a deep breath out and take a small deep breath in. So there's vacuums, and like even if you don't compete, like I really am a firm believer in vacuums, but they don't directly shrink your waist. But that's pretty much all I had to say on there. Like overall deficits, good nutrition, good digestion, so your waist doesn't get distended. Also maybe like some stress, cortisol, like controlling your stress is really important. After I work a 12-hour shift, I'm always like a little bit bloated and holding water, and I tend to do it more like in my midsection. But our cortisols, our stress hormone, is elevated. It just like tends to hold more water and like bloat and like your, which is we'll just kind of minimize that, I guess.
And kind of on that note, I think that there's one thing that's like super overlooked, honestly. Like there's one factor that I think like doesn't get talked about enough. I think it's neglected, especially when people are getting into the gym and really disciplined, is recovery and sleep. It's like we train hard. We have all of our meals. We do everything like 100%. But if you're not prioritizing your recovery, if you're not prioritizing your sleep, you're not allowing those muscles to recover. You're not allowing yourself to recover. You're not allowing yourself to bring down your cortisol like Kate was just talking about. And that is probably one of the most important things in feeling your best and looking your best and seeing progress in and out of the gym. I mean, in any sort of context. Like that's something, even when my clients are checking in with me, there's like, what more can I be doing? I'm like, I want you to do this. I want you to sleep, right? Like I'll look at their sleep log and they're sleeping like 5 hours a night. And I'm like, well, no wonder your energy is low, right? I would rather you focus on your rest and your wind down routine and all those types of things. I mean, even me, when I had those, like 2 or 3 weeks where my weight stalled in my bodybuilding prep, I was like, I need to be sleeping more. I wasn't sleeping enough. And once I was able to really, really like get a good solid 8 hours of sleep, I was like, okay, I feel better. And my weight started coming down again. So I don't know. Have you guys had an experience with that?
Yeah. I know Caroline's going to call me out. When it was like 3 months ago, y'all.
This bitch don't sleep.
Okay, I've been better about it, but I used to like literally sleep like 3 or 4 hours. Like even no matter how tired I was and like no matter what I did the day before, I would go to bed at like 10, 11. I would struggle to go to sleep, and then I'd wake up at like 2 or 3 and just like wired. And I think a lot of that was like my hormones and just that cortisol spike. And due to like my gut issues, my body's not clearing out my cortisol at all. And I think it was just like sitting in my body, and I was just like waking up like, okay, I got to get up. And I would just wake up so anxious. But having a nighttime routine has honestly helped me so much. I used to take everything under the sun to like knock me out. And I'd be like, why is my sleep still sucking? But it's because like I was taking like all these things as a band-aid and I wasn't addressing the root cause. So now all I take is magnesium glycinate, which is the best form of magnesium to take. It's the most absorbable. But glycine is an amino acid in our body, and it pretty much just helps our muscles and our mind relax. And that's the only thing I take. I used to take melatonin. I used to even take NyQuil when I was super desperate. I know it's bad, especially when I was on night shift. But now, like,
You're crazy.
I know I only take magnesium glycinate now. In the past like month and a half, I've been sleeping like at least 7.5 hours, upwards to like 8.5, and it's the best quality sleep I've ever gotten. But also my lifts are so good. I feel so strong. I wake up feeling pretty mentally clear. And a lot of this I think is like fixing my health, what's helping me sleep. But like if you're just neglecting your sleep and your recovery, and like your muscle is recovering and growing, you going into the gym after like 3-4 hours of sleep is not honestly going to be conducive for your goals. Like you're only going to wear yourself out even more. Something my coach told me recently, I slept 4 hours and then I went to the gym and I was like, I had the worst lift of my life. And honestly, I was just like so depressed after that lift because I was like, I suck. But he was like, why would you go into the gym, no sleep and no energy, when you could just rest, maybe take a nap on that day and then go the next day, because you're honestly just going to have a worse workout, because like if you're not sleeping and recovering, your energy's not there, your muscles not growing. So I don't know. I just like, I'm a big advocate now for sleep, a nighttime routine, a slow morning routine. Like I love having a slow morning when I wake up, because if like I just get up and go, I'm anxious, my cortisol's messed up, my digestion's messed up for the rest of the day, because it's like a fight or flight response.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's
don't I don't sleep, ask Kate. I don't sleep less than 7 hours. Like the other day, I told a friend I was gonna go to the gym with her, and I woke up and looked at my Oura ring, which it kind of is obsessive, but I did, and it was like 6 hours and 25 minutes, and I was like, I'm not getting up. I'm going back to bed. So if I don't get more than 7 hours, like I will go back to sleep. And so I could not tell you the last time I didn't average like an 8.5 hour night of sleep.
That was like Caroline came down for my show in Boca.
She's killing me. Peak week. She's getting like 3 hours of sleep. I'm like, Alani, I'm going to bed.
So bad, but I loved it because she was like, we would plan our day around getting 8 hours of sleep. And it was so awesome because I was like, I needed somebody to push me to like sleep more. And it would be like, okay, well, if we need to be getting up at this time, we got to go to bed at this time. And I was like, thank you for like holding me accountable on that.
Yeah, it was like show night. And I was like, I love you, but I'm going to bed.
I was taking my Tito shot with Bradley and on FaceTime with my parents. And they're like, where's Caroline? I'm like, she went to bed an hour ago. They're like, wake her up. I was like,
But it really is important, because like if you're not sleeping, it's going to show in your body.
It does.
I used to think I was like this, like so I'm so dedicated and motivated. I only need 4 hours of sleep and I'm gonna go to the gym. I wish I could just like go back and just shut myself up. Like I remember waking up and I would like post my like, only got 3 hours of sleep, but here I am at 3 a.m. on the Stairmaster. I was only doing more harm than good at that point. And my friend also tells me I would rather you sleep an extra hour or two than get up and go do your cardio.
Yeah. Carson works in construction, and he wakes up at 4 and has to be at work at 5. And he gets made fun of from every single guy at work every single day. They make so much fun of him because he goes to bed at like 8 o'clock every night. And I'm like, Carson, they can laugh and joke at you all you want, like all they want, but like rest and recovery really is so important. Like you need to be getting your sleep. And he even admitted 2 nights ago, he was like, the 2 months when you weren't living with me, when you were still at school and I was going to the gym after work and I was waking up and I had to make all my meals and stuff. He was like, I felt so bloated and so inflamed. Like I was just puffy. And I'm like, yeah, because you're actually getting rest and recovery now. Like they can laugh all they want, but it's not a joke.
No, for real. And like it only, like beside like your physique and everything, like there's like studies that show like it's linked to like cognitive disorders and deterioration, like even Alzheimer's, but also like your hormones are majorly influenced by how much sleep and recovery you're getting. Like your ghrelin and leptin, they're your hunger hormones. Like when you don't sleep, those are elevated and you're only going to be more hungry, you're going to be moody, your estrogen, progesterone, and your thyroid might start to downregulate because it's in fight or flight mode constantly, a sympathetic state. So like there's definitely more like health factors, and everyone should at least be getting at least 7 hours.
Yeah.
And
awesome. Well, I think we covered some really good topics today. A few topics and some great information.
Yeah, I really like the multi-topics, but maybe next week we'll do like a Q&A, because I really liked our Q&A.
Yeah, that was fun.
Those are fun. Yeah, definitely leave some questions, whether it's on, our YouTube or Spotify or wherever it is, or ask us, because we want to be covering topics that you guys want to know. It's like that's what we're here for.
Yeah, but we're getting really good feedback, and I think it would be like a good way to close this out by just saying thank you to everyone. I think it's been like 2 or 3 months now. This is like episode 14.
Yeah, guys, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Else.
Yeah, this all started like in the spur of a moment. Like, let's just start a podcast, but it's really just grown to be something that really brings a lot of value. Like, I got a message yesterday. I was at work having a busy day, and then I saw a message pop up on my phone, and I was like, wow, that really just like motivates me. And even people at my work are listening to this, and it's just really good feedback all around. And we're just so happy to be able to do this for you guys.
Yeah, it really is so fulfilling. I remember when you guys texted me, when I was like on the Stairmaster doing like my cardio when I was at like 60 minutes in the morning and whatever. And it like, I remember just texting and we were like figuring out the name and we were figuring out all these different types of things. And you guys were like, please say yes. Like, we want to do this podcast. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. Like it's been so fun.
Yeah. I have a few clients who watch it and they love it. So it's really fun.
It's definitely not easy with our busy schedules we all have, but it's like, honestly, I look forward to it. And
yeah,
just so thankful. I'm thankful for you ladies too.
I'm thankful for you guys.
Oh, awesome.
Right. Well, that's it. This is this week's episode. You can catch us on YouTube, and then we're also on Spotify and Apple Music. And we'll see you guys next week, I guess.
Bye.
Bye.